Hey, welcome back to Website Agency Secrets. This is episode 15 talking about landing pages. So this is the podcast where local businesses learn how to optimize their websites to grow their overall community reputation and also ultimately get more leads and more business. We're diving into landing pages 101. This is the page on your site where you send advertising traffic, like a Facebook ad or a boosted post or some sort of advertisement can go to a special page to talk about it. It is on your website, but is it a part of your website? And we're going to dive into that today on Landing Pages 101 here on Website Agency Secrets. All right, so Landing Pages 101. A lot of people love these pages because they just seem more fun. Like, hey, you're building out a page for an advertisement. And that is true, but we got a few issues. Number one, which is what page on your website should you send paid traffic to? Like if you're running a Facebook ad or Google AdWords, or you have a billboard or some sort of paid advertisement, do you send them to your home page or somewhere else? If the purpose of your website is community perception, then what's the purpose of your landing page? And these are the concepts where we talk about the psychology behind the consumers. And so if you understand the psychology, then it's going to apply to whatever platform it is that you're advertising or sending traffic to. And then, of course, defining outbound traffic. And let's define outbound traffic right now. Okay, so let's get some basic terminology. I talk about this on episode 2, I think, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth today. So look, inbound traffic is community traffic looking for a service provider in their area. Think Google, right? Or if you're old school, think Yellow Pages. So someone is looking up a good or service, they Google it online, and then what do they find? That is your inbound traffic. Outbound traffic, that's traffic that is responding to an ad. They were not in the market for your service, but then they saw an advertisement and were compelled to learn more. That is called outbound traffic. All of your traffic falls into one of these two categories. Some people will say, well, what about referral traffic? And I say, well, referral traffic is the same thing as outbound traffic. So long as they weren't of their own accord Google searching for your services, then really it's outbound. Another way to think about this is in terms of the psychology of the visitors. And now, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can't see my visual aid. You can check out my YouTube channel to see the video version of this podcast, where I am showing off a homemade chart. I guess we'll call it a homemade chart. But I talk about this following journey, which every consumer goes on. They begin as an unaware consumer. They then become an interested consumer. They then become in active research mode. Then they become a lead, a trial, a customer. So an example would be someone is unaware of the benefits of a personal trainer, or they don't even know that personal training exists. They then become educated that personal training exists. They become an interested consumer. And then when they enter into active research, that's when they start to say, well, who should be my personal trainer? And that's a fundamental shift. If someone is saying, I'm interested in personal training, and now they're moving into who should be my personal trainer, that is the movement from outbound to inbound. And so think about your own business. I just signed the contract on a deck. So I was saying, okay, I am going to get a new deck. And if I saw an advertisement, guess what? I did see advertisements. I clicked on advertisements for new decks. And then I became active research, which was who is going to do my new deck. And that's different than being sold on a new deck. And we'll talk about the psychology here. But that's the fundamental difference between the two. So let's break down the differences between outbound and inbound. Again, on my video version, I've got a cool homemade chart. I've got the following categories: mindset, platform, motivation, and trigger words. So let's talk about the mindset of outbound traffic. Well, they are service unaware. I don't know that personal training exists or would be beneficial to me. Whereas inbound traffic, their mindset is, I do know that personal training exists, but I am provider unaware. I don't know who should be my personal trainer. The platform they're using, outbound traffic is using Facebook or a billboard or Google AdWords or Google AdWords. Okay. Some of you internet marketers listening to this are going to fight me on that one, but okay, we won't go too techno gabble. Face anywhere that you are disrupting their experience to show them an ad, that's going to be outbound. Inbound traffic is primarily Google. Motivation, and this is huge. Could your service solve their problem? How can you de-risk their issues? So, for example, could personal training solve their weight issues? Could personal training solve their confidence issues? Could your new Invisalign program solve their smile issues or confidence issues? Okay, right? Whereas inbound traffic motivation is, can you solve their needs? Can you specifically, dentist, can you specifically, personal trainer, be the one that can do it? Okay, so let's talk about trigger words. Trigger words are going to be like something like, for outbound traffic, it's going to be something like promotion or spots running out or heart disease kills, or you may not realize you have this problem. Again, notice that's all educating the consumer that the service itself is desirable. Whereas inbound traffic is other people saw this result with us, or we solve your problems, or we have what you need, or you are in good company. It's all about how you solve their needs. So the key difference is outbound traffic is motivated by the service is going to solve their needs. Inbound traffic is motivated by you are going to solve their needs via the service. Now, every consumer is going to go through this whole phase, but outbound comes before inbound on the psychological journey. So as a consumer, think less about okay, if you're a service provider and you're thinking about the psychology of your consumer, think less about why what kind of promotion they need, and think more about why haven't they become interested in your service up until now? Like, what are some common objections that society falsely believes about you and your product or service? Like dentist, for instance. It's going to be painful, or it's going to be expensive, or I'm not going to heal fast, or it's going to be really uncomfortable, or, insurance is going to handle it. I don't know, So all those false beliefs you have to knock down in your outbound advertising. But once they know they need a dentist, now think about what is their concern about choosing a dentist? Like, what is their false belief about you specifically? Experience, convenience of location, skill of staff, kindness of front desk. You know what I'm saying? So those are two very different things that motivate them. So the goal of your landing page is not to sell you, right? It's not to sell anything other than turning them into an action taker for your service, to believe that your service will help them, to believe that your service is desirable, to believe that your service maybe is rare. Like, rarity is such a motivation. Like, if they don't do something now, they won't get the chance. So like, hey, you've thought about fixing your teeth. If you don't act soon, you won't get the chance again, right? That's a big motivator. And, I kind of hinted on this already, but moving from get the word out about my brand to why haven't these people valued my service prior to us meeting? So this is huge for a lot of you guys that are sticking your toes in the Facebook advertising waters. I would say 8 out of 10 local businesses that advertise come from the position of, I got to get the word out about my brand. I got to get the word out about me, right? And I want you to just chuck that attitude out the window. Effective outbound advertisements answer the question, why hasn't my community valued my service prior to us meeting? The reason why people think it's about get the word out is because they think they're advertising to the people that would have been signing up with their competitors, right? So maybe they saw a competitor ad and they're like, oh my gosh, look at all those comments, look at all those things. Man, those people need to know about me. And I'm saying, no, like your competitors have already successfully moved some people into service provider unaware, like provider unaware. That's great. We're not going after those people. We're going after the people that, why haven't you valued your deck up until now. Like if you're like, I just talked about signing the contract on my deck. Why haven't you been motivated to finally get that deck redone or fixed or cleaned up, whatever? So what's stopping those people? And so then you address those concerns and you get the ad out, and you're going to be actually growing the overall percentage of the market that is interested in your service, right? And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because just like some of the people that see your ad and maybe become motivated to invest into your service, maybe they'll end up going to your competitor once they become inbound traffic. Like maybe they see your ad, they start thinking about it. A week later, they Google search your services. If you're not ranking number one, they might choose your competitor, but it's going to happen vice versa as well. Your competitors are raising overall awareness, and then you are a service provider there. Okay, so let's talk about some of these psychological blocks when it comes to outbound advertising. So we're on the same page. We're writing advertisements to people who are currently not motivated to Google search your services. You can get them to become motivated to click on your ad and become interested in your services by using one of these three things: fear, logic, emotion. I got this all from a book called Copywriting Secrets, which helped me write all the copy for all the advertisements I've run for various agencies, doing tens of thousands of dollars a month of ad spend a month. I would say collectively, I'm north of $100,000 a month in ad spend now. So yeah, you're welcome, Facebook. All right, so these are the sorts of copy that we write, and I've been A/B testing this, and it works really well. I learned it from this book. Let's start with fear. All right, so back to the service of personal training. Fear. You're going to get heart disease and die if you don't sign up for classes, right? That would be a fear motivation. Some percentage of the market will respond best to this, right? I know I need to get in shape, right? Heart disease kills or something like that, right? An emotional ad could be your dream body is waiting for you. Your dream body is waiting. So you understand the difference now. Like, one is you're going to die if you don't do personal training. One is you can achieve your dream physique. And then logic would be something like, doctors suggest that 30 minutes of cardio can dramatically decrease your risk of heart disease, right? So like, logically speaking, the facts say, the data suggests, or the data proves, right? So think about this for a minute. Certain percentage of your population is going to respond to fear. Certain percentage of your population is going to respond to emotion. Certain percentage of your population is going to respond to logic. Well, here's how outbound advertising works. You got to recycle and you have to refresh your ad copy on a regular cadence. And so at my agencies, like, we'll run a fear ad for October, we'll run an emotion ad for November, we'll run a logic ad for December, and we're going to rotate and just refresh, because the idea is that more people are going to enter the market over time, and maybe the time wasn't right when you ran that fear ad 3 months ago. Now it's going to be time again. And then you can write different versions of the copy, right? And then you can say, okay, cool, I've written 6 fear ad. I can practice that copy, and I can rotate that. Now, this is getting a little technical. So if you're not someone to run Facebook ads, you can still use this for your just regular Facebook posts. You can still use this for any sort of outbound advertising. And what you want to do is think about these 3 categories and then categorize your copy into one of them. You can, in fact, combine the 3 into a singular ad, like a long form ad. If you ever see an advertisement that's like really long, they're likely touching all 3 of these. But these should be the categories of advertisements that you run. And now here's where we're going to tie it all together to talk about landing pages again. You want your landing page to be an exact match of your ad, right? So let me say this again. So many times you're going to be running an advertisement and you're running fear logic. Like, you're not going to get heart disease. Like, you're going to get heart disease and dies if you don't sign up for classes. So then someone clicks on the ad, and where are you sending them? So many people are just sending them to their home page. So it's like, you're going to get heart disease and die if you don't sign up for classes. Person clicks, they go to the home page and says, welcome to Tim's Gym. Like, okay, we're shifting it. So you want an exact match of copy on your landing page that they clicked on. Okay, and this requires a little bit of work, but it's going to dramatically increase your conversion rate. Now, we talked about the purpose of your website, to change the overall perception of your brand. The purpose of your landing page is one thing and one thing only: convert the people into leads. And it really has nothing to do with your brand. It really just has to say, do you believe the fear? Like, yeah, yes, you are interested in learning more about personal training, etc. Plus, it already worked once. They already committed by clicking, right? So they've already committed 50% there. If they go to a page and it's the same thing, they're already 50% done. They've already committed, right? So you don't want to change the copy. That is going to require multiple landing pages. So you want to build on your website inner pages. Maybe it's like fear.yoururl.com, or maybe it's yoururl.com/advertisement1, right? I don't know. Maybe not fear. Maybe you don't you don't title it fear, but maybe you do like heart disease, like url.com/heart disease promotion or something. I don't know. But you want to have different landing pages that are exact matches to your ads. Now, as far as the layout of the page, the following points have been the most impactful for our outbound advertising in the fitness niche. First of all, simpler the better. The more complex the page is, the more distractions they have, the more excuses they're going to find as to why they shouldn't become a lead. They've already committed. Like I said, they've already clicked on the ad. That's a commitment. You want the headline of the page to match the ad headline. So the first big text on the page needs to say exactly what it is that the headline of the ad said. As far as call to action, like a lead form box, it's the same principle as my call to action podcast, which was a couple episodes back. You only want one thing. As soon as they click on that page, it becomes very obvious what it is that you want them to do. So they're clicking on an ad. They're going to an inner page on your website that has no other distractions except the same ad copy as your ad and your lead form. So if you understand this isn't hard. You don't have to write up a bunch of copy. You don't have to design a whole new fancy page. You can literally just make a very simple page, use the same copy and images as your ad with a lead form, and boom. Now, some of you guys are using Facebook lead form ads, which bypasses landing pages altogether, and that's great. I would say that lead form is the landing page. So when I do lead form ads, guess what I'm doing? Exact match keyword matching of the ad. Same deal. That is a mini landing page. And then don't neglect your thank you page. Your thank you page is what it is that you want them to do next. And what you want to imply is that they're not done. They're already committed. So keep on getting them to do what it is that you want them to do. In most cases, booking an appointment. So for example, on my thank you page, I say like almost done. And I maybe have a little informational video, or I have a Calendly link or something. Okay. So on the landing page, you want to A/B test the amount of information that you provide. So this is where it's like, okay, you want to keep it simple. You want the copy of the ad, but in some instances, you need a bit more content on the page. And so you can A/B test a page that has the FAQ section, like a frequently asked questions. You can A/B test something that has maybe a paragraph of more information, or maybe some reviews, and you want to just see which performs better. It's, the art of marketing is not the perfect thing. Marketing is refinement perfected. It is to what extent can you learn and evolve alongside your learnings. And the only way you can learn is if you're A/B testing. So, most landing page softwares or websites will have multiple A/B test tools. Facebook even has A/B test tools. You just really want to take advantage of that, because the chances are your first time doing an ad is not going to be the best version, but you want to learn. Now, if you don't want to A/B test simultaneously, you can test like, hey, do it this month, see what the data looks like. Do the same ad the next month with a different landing page and see what the data looks like. I always encourage small businesses to push to phone calls. I think that if you're good on the phone, that's going to put you apart a lot. It really depends on what your industry is, but a lot of consumers still want to talk on the phone, or better yet, texting. Like, if you can automate a text, I got a lot of different solutions. If you guys need help with that, I can hook you up. A lot of people want to just text, and the timeliness in which you communicate that will dramatically improve your probability of getting them to book an appointment or show up. Okay. So let's talk about pre-qualification. Now, in some instances, some businesses are going to say, I have so many leads, I need to pre-qualify. So pre-qualifying is when you sort out bad leads prior to them giving their information. So they might be like, hey, I only want leads that have like a certain income threshold or know what my price point is. Like in the fitness, like personal training, let's say that's a high-end personal trainer that's charging $1,000 a month. They don't want to have to deal with a bunch of leads that are, not able to afford that. So they might disclose their pricing on the landing page to discourage individuals who are not prepared to invest that amount of money. And so the way you should think about pre-qualification is under what circumstances do you not want to contact? Okay. And here's my challenge to you individuals that say you have too many leads, to you businesses. Like if someone has $1,000 a month personal trainer and they don't want contacts, I'm going to say, no, you do want the contacts. You want their information. This is someone in your community that is interested in personal training. They're just not maybe interested to the amount of $1,000 a month, or they can't afford it. That makes sense. But why would you not want them as a contact? Because you can long-term nurture them with your emails, and maybe they will change in the future. Or maybe one day you're going to offer a cheaper package because you might decide to do that, and then you can reach out to your list. You want to build your list. Building your list is huge. Like if you own a large email list, that can get you out of a financial bind in ways that advertising cannot. So you build your list. So I say never pre-qualify. Always get the lead. Where you can pre-qualify is after the lead form. So if you truly have so many leads you can't handle it, my proposal to you is accept their lead info. And then on the second page, have your call to action to book the appointment, right? And on that page, you disclose your pricing or whatever pre-qualification mechanisms you want. And then you can begin to sort the people that completed the lead form but did not book. And you can go ahead and auto put them in as unqualified, but you can still email drip nurture them over time. The idea that you don't want to contact because they can't afford your services is, to me, very short-sighted. You never know when their circumstances will change or your circumstances will change. And if you own that email address, you own that email address, and you get to market and send emails for as long as they don't unsubscribe. So, and in the event that you have so many leads you can't handle it, there's value there. There's a community interest. Maybe it's not that they aren't qualified for you. It's that you don't offer a service. Well, one of two things will happen. Okay, this is a debate point, and I'm happy if you're in the fitness niche. Join me on my podcast. We'll talk about it. All right. It is true that you have the opportunity to increase the value perception of personal training to where the consumer will now value it more and be willing to invest more money into it. There's also the argument that, well, they're just not interested in your service. They're interested in fitness. They're not interested in high-end personal training. Okay. So that one of two things is going to happen. Either you need to improve your sales scripting to convince those consumers to spend more money, or you could consider selling those leads to someone that provides that service. You could do that by hiring a salesperson. Like if you have so many leads, you can't handle the volume, maybe hire some sales people. Or maybe insert a pre-qual mechanism after the lead capture form before the appointment's set, right? I actually made this a Facebook post when I was writing this podcast episode. It's like the turn off leads I can't handle volume requests is short-sighted. Worst case, long-term nurture them, raise prices, make a waiting list, right? Now, there's two different kinds of pre-qualification. People, like you're at capacity, like you literally can't handle more business, or they aren't willing to invest the money. Under both circumstances, you can still get value from people that are interested, maybe just can't afford it right now, or maybe you're just at capacity. Lots of different ways to find value, but I would just say like not accepting that is crazy to me. Okay, so what should my landing page look like? I'm intentionally not providing sketches of landing pages on this podcast visual aid because this stuff changes all the time. So here's what I suggest. Number one, Google top landing page designs in your niche, and you'll find some great examples. And then use the principles in this podcast, i.e. the exact match copy from the ad, the fear, logic, emotion, the one lead form, keeping it super simple, the better. And you're going to get yourself a great landing page. Like, I could show you designs of pages that I look like, but then it's going to date this episode. there's examples of landing pages on our blog. Shoot, you can email me, tim@websiteagencysecrets.com, and I can show you some examples. But the point is, you can just Google it as well. But what Google won't tell you is the content in this podcast, which is what words do you write on it, and how do you format it, and how many call to actions do you have, right? That's the benefit that you now have because you listen to episode 15 of Website Agency Secrets, and you remember, my dear friends out there, you are remembering that it all starts with your website. If you are a local business hoping to get your community to fully comprehend your true value, it all starts with your website. Hopefully this was helpful to you. It's my pleasure to bring this knowledge to you all. I really appreciate each and every one of you that listen and tune in, as I probably have about 15 more episodes until my brain is fully dumped of all the information I've got from running my agency for the last 8 years. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Thanks.